I'd like to call this regular session meeting to order at 7:05. Roll call, please.
Mayor Romanek.
Here.
Commissioner Hewitt.
Here.
Commissioner Sui.
Here.
Vice Mayor Watson.
Here.
Commissioner Casabun.
May I please have Reverend Murky come up to the microphone, and can we please stand for the invocation followed by the salute of the flag?
Pray with me, would you? Thank you for the remembrance of great people like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and for the celebration of the difference that they have made and their impacts that still last. Thank you for our city, for this new day. We pray for your guidance and wisdom in all decision-making, that you would lead us forward and bless us in 2025. Father, guide us in all things and receive honor and glory, for we ask it in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975. It was advertised, posted, and made available to the public as required by statute. The municipal clerk is directed to include a statement in the minutes of this meeting. Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, there was one, and that was just the addition of Resolution Item 14, authorizing the city to enter into an emergency contract/purchase order with MXI Environmental Services LLC for the collection and disposal of hazardous materials for a total amount not to exceed $25,000.
Thank you. Bills.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second motion.
I have a motion and second for bill payment. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson.
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun.
Yes.
Commissioner Sui.
Yes.
Mayor Romanek.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Make a motion to approve and dispense with the reading of the following minutes and proceed with the regular order of business. December 31st, 2024, closed session meeting.
Second motion.
I have a motion and second of approval and dispense of the minutes. Excuse me. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson.
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun.
Yes.
Commissioner Sui.
Yes.
Mayor Romanek.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Public comment on agenda items only. We have now reached the public comment on agenda items only. If you would like to address the commission, please come to the podium, state your name, address your concerns, and please limit those comments to approximately 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening, Patricia Clark Kears. I would like to comment on the resolution number 1. And as a frequent commenter and questioner, I haven't always agreed with Mr. Russell, but I do respect his knowledge and his expertise. We don't always like the advice that we receive, but we should follow the professional advice given. Continuity is definitely needed. There were approximately 22 meetings left this year for this commission, I believe. And we really need to move the city forward. So we need to put personal feelings and egos aside and work together so that when you're asked by another individual for their guidance or their knowledge, it should be freely given. I think it is in the best interest of the city to retain Mr. Russell in this position. He is, again, knowledgeable. He knows what he's doing. He's been deeply involved in all of the changes that are occurring. My second question is I do have a question on resolution number 7. Excuse me. And that is the $100,000 grant, which I think is a great idea. Can you tell me exactly what the improvements are going to be at the park? Is it going to be like new equipment or cleanup?
We'll wait to inform everybody after. Just ask your questions. We'll inform everybody after.
Okay, thank you very much. And my other question is on resolution number 14. Can you please just tell what the hazardous materials are? I think it's a good idea that this is done rather than paying the extra 60 grand for the additional month's rent. But I certainly would like to know what those materials are that are in the warehouse. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kears.
Pertaining to our last statement, this is Anthony DeSantis. Regarding that warehouse that was purchased,
Mr. DeSantis, this is just on the agenda items.
is that the agenda item that you quoted?
This is just, she commented on the material wastes
That's what I'm referring
at the
to.
location.
That's what I'm referring to.
It's not just, but that's just about the.
It's only about the waste. You can only talk about the waste.
And
That's
that's
what's on
and
the
that's what I'm
agenda.
doing.
Right.
So a building was purchased with waste on it.
No, this is the building that we're selling.
Oh, this is the one that you're selling.
Yeah.
Okay, I just needed some clarification on that.
And there were some items that needed to be removed on the building we're selling.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's all.
Roy Shepherd, Millville. I have a question about the number 19, 8, the DNR landscape and maintenance services. Usually this goes out to bid every year. So if we want to go back, let's go back 3 years. DNR agreed on the, let's just call it $100,000 contract. Year 2 got there, and the city decided not to put it back out to contract, that DNR would go at the same numbers as year 1. We're at year 3 now, and this has not went out to bid again. My question is, why? If we're always talking about saving money, whether it's a dollar, my question is, why is this not going out to bid again? In regards to the spending of the $25,000 in the hazardous material, I guess this is on the 15th Street property. Is that correct? That is where the hazardous waste is. It seems as though we've had some time. We knew we were going to sell this building. Why wasn't it analyzed and seen that this material was in there, and to spend $25,000, is it a lot of waste? It just seems like the numbers are way off from what it probably should be. Thank you.
Thank you, Ward.
Hi, I'm Laura Burns. I am a former assistant city clerk. I retired in September after 37 years, 37 and some years. I am here this evening to urge the governing body to reappoint Brock Russell as city attorney. I have had the honor to work with Mr. Russell for the past decade or so. Brock is a professional, trustworthy, and a man of good character, and has my greatest respect. He is an exceptional municipal attorney and highly experienced in municipal government and planning and zoning regulations. We need that because I don't believe our city administrator is very privy on municipal government yet. I question why the governing body would even consider reappointing a new solicitor when the city election is only 10 months away. It makes no sense. Brock has a great working relationship with the city clerk's office, other city professionals, and city employees, and is informed with all of the city's various current projects, litigation, and day-to-day operations. Replacing Brock would be a disservice to the citizens of Millville, and I urge every one of you to do the right thing and reappoint Brock as city attorney. I am sure all of you are aware that I made a Facebook post, and I said that I believe this is a hit job by Zoe. And I honestly believe that because I've witnessed it and I've experienced it and I know his MO. Thank you.
Sherman Taylor, Isabel Avenue. I was an employee for the city of Millville for 25 years. I've been active in emergency services for 38 years with the city. I've lived in Millville for 54 years. I'm born and raised here. I've stayed here. I've known Brock Russell for most of my life. My family used his law firm, his father and him. Outstanding gentleman, fine moral character, upstanding citizen, pillar of the community. I could not imagine anybody else sitting in that chair than him. He has my utmost respect, always has. Fine gentleman, speaks to me every single time I'm in public, out of public, it doesn't matter. Just an overall great person. I had pleasure of working with him when I worked for the city. I was a department head for emergency management. And any question that I had, legal or otherwise, I could go to Brock and he would sit down with me and go over all the fine, entities for it. And he was always there. And he's just an all-around good choice. Please consider reappointing him for that position, because I don't think that there's anybody else that should be sitting in that chair. And there's only 10 months left for you guys. Just try to get along and, make the right decisions. It's the citizens that you're working for, and, we need you to make the right decisions. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioner. My name is Robert McQuaid, Millville, former commission of this commission. My curiosity, I missed it. I didn't hear why we were going to not reappoint Mr. Russell. So could you explain why we're not going to reappoint him? What's the reasoning? And I'd like to know it. I think it's kind of fishy. I think there's some stuff going behind closed doors, as I know. So there's no reason he can't stay for 10 more months. This has been a polarized commission ever since I got on the board here and I ran, and then I decided not to run until Mr. Kurt Hewitt decided to have me run with him. So my curiosity is, why do you want to get rid of him? And why is there so much polarization here? We need to work together as a city. And if your citizens are sitting out here, instead of arguing, we need to have private meetings if you have to, or bring your solutions to the commission here. And the commission needs to hear it. And it should be also a community relations committee for the commission, even if it's just one or two commissioners. I held it on the school board. It worked out wonderful. Teachers came, citizens came, and it worked out pretty good. We picked out probably out of 100 ideas that we had. We would work with 2. Dr. Gentile didn't like the idea, but it worked out pretty good. We used one of the big giant tablets. So, I just think it's a polarization, and I think this polarization that goes on with this commission, because it's been so many different people filling that seat. When Jim Quinn dropped out, Robert McQuaid's in there. Robert McQuaid gets voted out. Steve Watson's in there. Lisa Orndorff gets dropped out. Then we reappoint Marissa, and then now Ms. Kosovan, nothing against you, but you're here now. So the polarization needs to stop. We need to work together, because it's going to hurt one person. I don't know if any of you are going to run, but I know Ben Romanek is going to run. And Romanek is a big name in the city, but I think Ben won because of who Ben is. Ben is a good guy. He's actually a young kid that started in politics. He was a little nervous when I sat next to him. Where Suey sits, Ben sat. Where Miss Kosovan sits, I sat. Ben thought he sounded kind of funny. I said, that's, talking to people and his first time public speaking. And I may sound kind of funny right now because my heart's racing. But I told him you would get into it, you get into the motion and just focus on one person in the audience and pretend you're talking to them, and that's it. And I told the same thing to Watson. We need to sit and talk and need to find out, when there's a problem. Just explain the problem. Why are we getting rid of Brock, and what's the reasoning? I think I know why, but I'm not going to say anything. And this isn't directed to Suey, because I have a feeling for it's somewhere else in the commission. So could somebody answer that? Well, my 5 minutes is still here. Why we're getting rid of him? Because I don't think you should vote on it unless you tell the commission why we're getting rid of him.
Mr. McQuaid, we'll answer all questions after you're finished, and everybody is finished.
All right. Ben, congratulations. I never told you because being mayor, because my wife was very sick.
Yes.
But I see higher expectations for you. So maybe state senator soon. Take care.
Thank you, Mr. McQuaid.
Once again, Mary Messick here of Millville. Speaking on the last 10 months to this commission for another election, all I suggest is that no matter which way you decide to vote, you do it honestly and sincerely and give it your utmost thoughtfulness, because this has happened before. We've had a city solicitor for a long time. Then we voted him out, got another one in here, and it ended up costing the taxpayers and the city a whole lot more than what it was worth to have that person removed. So I appall you guys to really think hard and strong on your vote, on which way you're going. 10 months sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. Let them finish out what time we've got left.
Paul Parecka, Millville, New Jersey. Number 14, $25,000 to get rid of lime and fertilizer in bags and labeled. A partial 55-gallon drum and a couple of buckets of unknown material. I offered to take the lime and the fertilizer. I'm a farmer. I'm entitled to it. I can spread it on my fields legally. I could have taken it legally. I could transport it legally. I was told that that was impossible. I said, why? He said, because it's an emergency. We have to get rid of it. I said, well, why don't you just move it? I was told that you can't move it because the buildings were full. There was no space for it. So today was the day that they were supposed to get it out of there. For some reason, it got moved till yesterday after I called and said, hey, I want to go look at the stuff to see if it's available and if I can use it. It got moved from today till yesterday and was out of the building. But the building was open. We went in the building, and they didn't do their job. They left the material on the floor of the warehouse. There's a big pile of lime, and there's a big pile of fertilizer still there. So if you're going to vote to pay them $25,000 when they were the high bid, not the low bid, that would seem a little unusual unless they finished their job. And I have the pictures in my phone if you want to see them. Big pile of lime, big pile of fertilizer left. We don't know what was in the 55-gallon drum. The proper course of action would have been move it across the driveway from the warehouse to the streets and roads, which had open space also, since I talked to somebody and also saw that open space. It was a sealed container. It wouldn't have been spilled moving it from one location to the other, and time could have been taken to find out what it was. Typically, a city would only buy in 55-gallon drums probably soap, antifreeze, could have been water, could have been something that is not very hazardous and is easy to get rid of. The only other item was there was some 5-gallon buckets. It was probably spilled fertilizer because the bags were old and a couple of them were broken. So I was told we couldn't move it because there was no room. That was not true. There's plenty of room. I went to the Gaudelli building, and I've got pictures of how much room is in there. I've got the pictures of the fertilizer that's still left on the floor. I don't understand why you didn't take the low bid. I don't understand why they didn't do their job. I don't understand why you didn't donate, use, or get paid for fertilizer and lime. I did call the DRB, or the Cumberland County Improvement Authority, and the only time that lime and fertilizer becomes a hazardous waste is when you want to dispose of it. And they can't take it because it's on the list for disposal. If it's old stock, you can sell it, auction it, give it away, hand it off to the people that you're paying $115,000 to do the fertilization of your baseball fields and your grass areas. They're entitled to take it. They are allowed to apply it on the ground. It doesn't require a license. It requires a certification, which is a class. And I did all this research from the day that it came out on the agenda. I don't know why they said it was added today, because it was on there last week. No one reached out to anybody to look at alternatives. Additionally, I mean, the whole thing is a farce anyhow, because you knew that you sold the building over a year ago. There should have been an inventory of what was in the building, and everybody should have had time to take care of all this stuff, get the right bids, find out the ways. There was no emergency. The contract has not been voted on yet, but the work has already been done. How does that happen, and is it even legal? You don't have to pay these people now. They did it at their own risk. It sounds like it's a freebie, maybe. There's been no contract signed. And where's the other estimate? Why isn't that on the agenda? I mean, there's a whole lot of questions here. None of them make a lot of sense. What really bothers me about it is there was no effort made to find alternatives. And it wasn't like any of this was scary stuff. Lime and fertilizer, I bet it's in everybody's garage somewhere if they've got a lawn. This is ridiculous. Our money is being wasted so fast. Commissioner Watson, you wanted to get help. That $25,000 would have gone a long ways to paying for a helper. It makes no sense to me that this kind of money would be spent on something that was totally unnecessary, something that you could have got paid for. The other one last thing that's important is that the buyer of industrial properties usually get a phase 1 investigation. So we have no indication of what was in the 55-gallon drum. You don't know what it was. You might have been paying to get rid of water. But the people that bought the property probably saw that stuff in it when they did their phase 1 investigation, and probably have what is in that container and could have told you.
I'd like to expand on this topic. My name is Anthony DeSantis again. I have a lot of experience with this, partially because of the commission, and I'd like to thank you for that education. It was a very, very expensive education that I endured. But I could tell you something, Paul Pareca, he's correct. An item, if it is deemed inventory or product to be used, is not categorized hazardous material. All right? If that item, which is lime and some fertilizer, to my understanding, that could be spread through over the baseball fields, or it could be given away. So getting back to some of my issues, and the reason why I came here today is because I heard my name mentioned on video, so I decided to confront anybody in case there's somebody had something to say to me. You know, this is a frivolous waste of money. We work very hard. I work very hard at trying to generate and bring an income to the city. And I dare anybody up at that commission to say otherwise. Okay? The problem that I see here is a little bit of an ego, a little bit of an attitude. Because if you guys would have spoken amongst each other, or if you would have contacted me or somebody similar to me, or just an environmental person. For example, you knocked down a building, you could have called them. There's no secrets here. I mean, you've knocked down several buildings, you've gotten environmental reports. Inventory that can be reused, sold, is not hazardous material. It becomes hazardous material when you need to dispose of it. All right? So, and I wasn't aware of this, but Mr. Pareca made a very good point. Why would they start work before being approved or receiving a contract? Perhaps an investigation should be opened into that, because that's $25,000 that went down the drain. And Kirk needs money for the police department. You know, that could have gone to the police department, the fire department. The man is up here fighting for his people. I mean, we could replay the tapes. So if you guys could just maybe communicate amongst each other, or bring outside professionals instead of ignoring me like Mr. Watson's doing, or, other people with blank faces. If they were to pay attention, especially the person in charge of finance, this city may actually make some money for once. Thank you for your time.
I'm Tom McGinty. I live in Millville. Been here pretty much all my life. One thing Mr. Perica said is false. It's not his fault. It's the county's fault. County can't even tell him that lime is not a hazardous waste. It's a ID 27 waste. ID 27 waste. It's you can look it up under the DEP regulations. The fertilizer and the lime wouldn't be considered a waste unless it's a powder, so it's a solid, ID 27 solid. It doesn't meet the hazardous requirements under pH or any of the other things that classify it as hazardous. So unless you mixed it with water and made a slurry and tried to get rid of it, then it'd be a different story. But it could have been recycled, reused, and even as a material that might have been over a pH, which is the only thing I can think of. It could have been reused on ball fields or whatever. For the drum, the question is, why was it even there, unlabeled, sitting for who knows how long without somebody looking at it in that department and figuring out, hey, what is this stuff? Under the Resource Conservation Recovery Act and ISRA, you have to label everything that you have stored on site and so forth and so on, and somebody's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. There's other waste out there that's managed. I don't know who takes care of it. I don't know who comes and collects it. But the question would be to me, why was not one of the local hazardous waste management companies or contractors or even the lab over in Bridgeton who could have come over in an hour and had you an analysis of what was in that drum. And I had 20 years with the Department of Environmental Protection. There's at least 10 people in this room that know that. I've said it multiple times. You could have gave me a call and I could have had a guy come over and at least analyze it for you. Then you know what you had. Then you call the disposal company because at that point it's classified. It just is astonishing that you guys didn't get together and say, we have a problem. We need to figure it out in a more economical and, it should have been done before. It's pretty much all I got to say on that.
Thank you, Mr. McGinty.
Bill Hamby, I want to ask you the question. Why didn't you just answer McQuaid's question? And all of a sudden, I want to ask you a different question, okay? Why yous are going to get rid of this guy here? Why you always got to put someone in that seat every single time? And matter of fact, McQuaid, he was a city commissioner. Why yous always had to not let him run again when he, McQuaid, was a good city commissioner? He did a lot for the city. And also, this police department, they ain't doing nothing for us. There's a lot of crime, especially on 3rd and 4th Street. They don't care about this crime.
Sir, this is just pertaining to the agenda.
I know. only asked, and I had that question. I just want to know, why did you avoid his question?
Sir, I said to previous public people that came up to the podium.
And
that we
I
would
want to
answer the
know
question at the
also,
end.
yeah, but why are you selling that property?
Finish up. Somebody will give you answers when they're done. The people,
I'm
you
on-
get to speak, and then we answer you.
I want to know, why are you selling that property when it could be used for the city?
Well, the sale of the property isn't on the agenda. You mean the sale of 15th Street, or you mean the sale of the materials?
On the 15th Street.
Yeah,
That's what I said.
Right, that's not on the agenda tonight.
Well,
You can make a comment at the end of the meeting, but this part
I know,
of the
I
meeting
was
is
only
for the
just
agenda.
asking.
Yeah.
anybody got any questions?
Sherman Taylor, again. Mr. DeSantis, Mr. McGinty are absolutely correct. You didn't have to spend $25,000 to find out what was in a drum. You have a member on your staff that's a department head. William Stadnick is the emergency management coordinator for the city of Millville. He could have made one phone call and had the Department of Health come out, test what was in the drum, and let you know what was in there. He's a staff member. It's what he does. Look it up. Look at what his title is. He's got the experience. He's got the knowledge. He's on staff. Could save you $25,000. It's ridiculous that we're spending this frivolous amounts of money time and time and time again. Mr. DeSantis isn't well liked. Obvious. You make it obvious. Mr. McGinty isn't well liked. Mr. Parecka isn't well liked. But they have the knowledge. Why, if we had piles of lime and fertilizer, are we, one, not giving it to our landscape people to use on the ball fields that they take care of? Why are we not giving it to a local farmer who could use it to grow crops, to feed people? If it's still there, call Mr. Parecka and have him come and pick it up. It's got to be that easy. It's waste. It's something we're getting rid of to begin with. Make yourself knowledgeable as to who you have on your staff that can answer the questions for you. You could have reached out in-house, dialed an extension, and had somebody here within an hour take a sample, run it through a lab, and let you know. Like Mr. DeSantis said, or McGinty, whoever. Could be water. Could be a drum of water. And if your right-to-know person that was in charge of that building was doing their job, that should have been labeled. I was the emergency management coordinator for the city of Millville for 15 years. It's a red-headed stepchild of the city's public safety division. Mr. Hewitt is one of the only directors that I ever had that came to me on a regular daily basis, or at least weekly basis, just to find out what was going on. It's an asset that you have in this city that you people need to start using. It's a public safety entity. When the crap hits the fan, the emergency management coordinator is in charge. It's a thankless job, but it's an important job. Thank you.
Thanks, Sherman.
Seeing no one else, I will close the public comment on agenda items only. Presentations.
Okay, we have a presentation by Bill Horn, Executive Director of Art C. So I'll give you the floor.
Okay, you guys always have me follow such a tough crowd here. I feel bad for you. So a couple months ago, we were asked to respond to an RFP for advertising marketing services for the city of Millville, which we did. And then it was questioned on, exactly what are you doing, how much are you doing, how are you doing, et cetera, et cetera. So I had a 20-minute presentation that I was hoping to give at some point. I spent the weekend cutting it down to 5 minutes. I will keep this very short. This should be working. So in the last 20 months, my company, Artsy, by the way, I live in Millville on Main Street, has received $29,000 from the city of Millville for services that we were hired to do. Some of these services, we did 7 videos on business videos. We've done small business profiles, which have been very, very effective and very, very well received. Plus, we've done a TV commercial, photo shoots, Livoni, Millville Night Out for Fanavision. We created a website called visitmillvillenj.com, which really sums up what there is to do and see in Millville. Plus, we created a calendar, the only calendar in the city of Millville that's comprehensive. In fact, we're collaborating with the Chamber of Commerce, who will now be referring people to our website. And we've also created social media and design and other things. But part of that, as a citizen of Millville, and as someone very interested in seeing Millville succeed, I've gone to over 50 events on my own time. People have said, well, you spend a lot of time at the arts, but I don't charge the city for any of that. I'm into the arts. I like the arts. I've done drone footage. I've done full-page ad design for the new Vacationer Guide coming out in the spring. That's going to have a full-page ad leading us back to our website. I've done editorial. I've done content and photos for the new Visitor's Guide that the Chamber of Commerce has put out. So I've done a lot of different things on my own time, which I'm glad to do. I believe in helping out the city. I believe it's making a difference. I know it's making a difference. I see it when I go to things. I know people respect what we're doing. So I've only got a couple of short video samples since we don't have a lot of time. This is a TV commercial we did that hasn't run yet.
Business demands location. Millville, New Jersey's got it. Business demands infrastructure. Millville's got it. Business demands a ready workforce. Millville's got it. Business demands affordable real estate. Millville's got it. Business demands leadership that gets it. Millville gets it.
Whether you're building, expanding, or relocating your operation, Millville means business.
Visit millvillenj.gov.
This was for Citizens Bank Park Fanavision.
Business demands location.
So one of the things we came up with were small business profiles. You got a lot of great small businesses in the city of Millville. They don't get the recognition they deserve or the attention they deserve. And they acted like they won some major award when we came in and did a photo of them and did a story about them. And the response on social media for these was just off the charts. This is only a small sample of the ones that we've done so far. We've got a lot more on the list. If you look at the reach on some, 28,000 that one reached. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that builds up morale. It helps, not only that, we've been sharing these on our Artsy website and Artsy Facebook page that reaches all of South Jersey. So people coming to Millville are now more aware of the businesses in town, the small business owners and their story. And it makes it easier when they go into a business and they know who they're dealing with. So this was some of the stuff that we've done. And the last thing, I'll go back. I've been covering events for the last 20 months. I go to them on my own time. As I said, there's 4 events I was asked to do, I did charge for. But most of the events are events that I just do on my own. First of all, I like going to them. And second of all, the reaction we get from them, it's been incredible. And I also try to create scenic photos. If you look at our website, visit millvillenj.com, you're going to see a lot of updated photos, beautiful photos of the parks, of the art, of the places to eat, of everything there is in Millville that's, you know, worth participating in. I think if someone's bringing a business to Millville, if someone's bringing employees to Millville, they're going to want to know about this stuff. This is some of the selling points we have. Yes, I know there's a lot of negative to Millville. I live here. I live downtown. I see the negative. But there's also a lot of positive that we should not be ignoring. I've got a team of people. I'm not supposed to talk about my team too much, but I brought in the best people I could find to help us do this marketing campaign, to do advertising. I rely on them. I like having people smarter than me around me. So we can do a lot. I've got suggestions for next year's proposal. You may not want to do all of them, but some of them are really good, and we'll keep expanding on the awareness of how much Millville has to offer. I mean, there is a lot here. So the website, we created a calendar. As I said before, there's no other calendar in Millville that people can go to and find out what's going on in Millville. The racetrack has their calendar, the Levoy has their calendar, the city has their calendar. But what if I'm someone coming to Millville for a weekend? Or if I'm a local saying, okay, I got some time this weekend, what am I going to do? So we got the calendar. We can also put photos on the calendar, show what was happening last year. We got places to eat. We've got Millville Means Business with all the profiles on it, and there's a lot more. So going forward, what are we proposing? Some of the things we're suggesting, continue the small business profiles. We're really good at those. People love them. I'm getting some of them to get 400, 500 likes, 200 shares. People look, as I said before, they feel like they won an award. We want to also do more collaborations. We're collaborating with the Chamber of Commerce right now. We're collaborating with the City of Millville, hopefully. We're collaborating with Holly City Development and other organizations. We want to update the visitmillvillenj.com website and the calendar. I'm currently paying someone $100 a week to keep the calendar updated. I can do that for a while, but it's something that really, really is beneficial and needs to be done. And when the ad comes out in the Vacationer Guide, that's going to lead a lot of people to that website. When the Levoy Theater starts promoting it like they said they will, the Chamber of Commerce has got it linked on their website. This is going to lead a lot of people to a website that lets people know there's a lot of good things in Millville. There's a lot of things to do in Millville. There's a lot of events. You got a lot of great family events coming out of the city. There's a lot of good things going on. We want to make people aware of that and do it in a professional manner. So the other thing is we want to do improved branding and marketing. We're working on that. We want to do a newsletter that comes out once every other month that highlights some of the things going. You can spotlight a business. You can spotlight an event. You can spotlight things happening in the city. You can spotlight building or whatever you're doing, new businesses coming into town. These can all be done in we already have 5,000 names for the newsletter. We've taken a lot of time to build it up. And we're also available for anything else the city may need. So these are the things I'm trying to do. One thing I do ask, if there's complaints about what we're doing, if there's questions, this is very difficult to work when there's no communication. Somebody calls me and says, hey, somebody's got a problem with what you're doing, what do you say? I'll be glad to answer it. I'll be glad to share any information I have. I know we're doing a good job. I know we're working really hard to make changes and also to let people know how much good there is in the city of Millville. And I want to continue doing that. Thank you. Did I go over 5 minutes? Did I meet the 5 minutes?
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
And I'll address that real quick.
Why did he leave the room when I talked?
No, he's out front.
Oh.
We don't have to sit up here and break our necks. We can move to the audience and sit with all you beautiful people. One thing I will say, Bill, is I do definitely appreciate everything that you have previously done. I look at all these pictures that you briefly shown, and it reminds me of all the good times that Millville has and the good times that Millville will continue to have. And whether you remember it just by your eyes and your brain keeping that away, but to have a physical copy of it is something that I always tried in my own life to print pictures. It's one thing it's on a phone, but to share that memory and to share that vision that we all see Millville to become and do. And the one thing that came to my mind was Art Duran when you made the promotional video. I had a call every day, it seemed like, from the president of Art Duran, and they were waiting for us, the city, to release it on our city page before they were going to show it internally. I said, you don't have to. It's your video about you. Go ahead. They were so excited. I believe to this day they still play it on a 15-minute on all their local TVs, and to show that how over 3 generations of families have worked there at Duran, Art Duran now, just to capture that history. That's just one place in Millville, and then for you to do all the other work. I hope you'd be back a part of the Millville team again.
I appreciate that. And we've been hearing the same response from the businesses and everybody we've done this for. And some of them, I hate to say it, were surprised that there's somebody in Millville doing that quality and level of work. I've been doing this for a long time, probably 100 years by now. I've done it for other cities. I know what I'm doing. I just wish I could convince you to let me keep doing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Petitions and letters.
Okay, I just need a motion to receive and file a letter from Mayor Romanek appointing Christine Garten to fill the unexpired term of Robert Campbell to serve as a Class 2 member of the Planning Board as the mayoral appointment with a term expiring December 1st, 2025.
Make the motion?
Second.
Motion is second on petitions letter item number 1. Any comments? Yes, Ms. Garten is a secretary for engineering office. Usually this position, Class 2, has to be, usually this petition of Class 2 is held by the zoning officer. New zoning officer is Itzel. She is learning of that process. I didn't feel it'd be right for her to step in to be zoning officer and then get Class 2 right away for the planning board. So Ms. Garten will do a great job, I believe. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Costaboon?
Yes.
Commissioner Sui?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Reports of commissioners. Commissioner Hewitt.
Yes, first I'd like to make a motion to receive and file EMS, fire, police reports for the month of December of 2024.
Second motion.
I have a motion and a second to receive and file the EMS, fire, and police department reports for the month of December of 2024. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Costaboon?
Yes.
Commissioner Sui?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Comment-wise, I'm going to repeat, since we got a lot of people in the room now, my thanks, my thoughts about the last couple of weeks here in town with some fires that we've had. Fire we had again, that we had tonight down along the river. Tonight's fire, we responded to it. Forest Fire also responded because it was down along the river. There was no way to get our trucks to it. So thank you to Forest Fire. Thank you to, like I said earlier, my OEM supervisor and officers over on the 3rd floor and throughout the department, along with Sam Cruz's team on getting us moved out of 15th Street Warehouse and over to the Gaudelli building. As mentioned, we can't use the back area right now. We're waiting for some samples to be pulled of a certain corner of that property that is gravel. It's not asphalt. But the building is workable for us.
Commissioner Hewitt, let me just remind you that you can answer any of the comments on the agenda items from any of the public persons.
Well, and, I'd like to answer a couple questions from earlier this evening, if it's okay.
Go right ahead.
First off, I don't remember your name. I'm sorry. My police department does not deserve to be tore down like they were. You got a problem with my police department? I'll give you my business card. I'll talk with you. Yeah. I'll talk with you. I'll set you up a meeting with my chief and myself.
Excuse me.
Nope, it's my turn. I listened to you. You have the right to say what you want to say, but if you have a problem with any of my departments, police, fire, rescue, or Office of Emergency Management, I am always available in this town. Okay? Not being smart with you, but answering your question. Bob McQuaid. We didn't stop Bob. I know Bob. Yes, Bob mentioned me that I pushed him to run. I campaigned with Bob. I know Bob. Nobody in this commission stopped Bob from running for office. He ran for office 2 times. We don't have the power. It seems like people think we have the power to control who runs for commission. We don't. So I just wanted to make that clear. As far as going through the agenda, most of it is work in progress. We do have on the agenda item number 19, just to get ahead of it. Once again, we're doing a resolution to pay the Vineland SPCA. I know they're not called that anymore, but I'm old. 6,000, excuse me, wrong one. That's Meals on Wheels. We're going to be paying the Regional Animal Center $207,007.23. I've gotten lots of questions on this. I got questions last year. This is the same price as it was last year. I actually stood up against this as a resident. We have to have it, folks. Law says we have to have somebody on contract to take hurt animals to, stray animals to, and such. So I just want to get ahead of that. But if anybody's got any questions when it comes up, feel free to ask. When you're done asking your questions, I'll answer them. With that, Mayor, progress.
Thank you, Commissioner Hewitt. Commissioner Sui.
Yes, first I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the Millville Recreation 2025 calendar of events.
I second it.
I have a motion and second to receive and file the Millville Recreation 2025 calendar of events. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Sui?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Second now, all departments are officially out of the 15th Street warehouse. There's a lot of people involved, including the men and Sam in the Parks Department that completed the majority of the work. I want to thank Lieutenant Hoytis, Sergeant Stadnick, Sergeant Reynolds, and Officer Hoffman for removing all the police and OEM items, and then as well as anybody else that was involved that I'm not aware of. Also appreciate Streets and Roads helping out with that, and everyone pulling together to get that move completed. So we still have a lot of work to get the new building into shape. We're waiting for environmentals in the back of the building that haven't been completed. So hopefully they'll come back good. Right now, there's a third of the property that we can't use due to possible contamination as outlined in the Phase 1 environmentals. Our next recreation event will take place on Saturday, March 1st, the annual Snowflake Plunge at Union Lake starting at noon. By then, I hope the weather is a little warmer than 12 degrees. This year, we are raising funds for the Big Dog Project and Fox Chase Cancer Center. Come jump in the cold waters of the lake, raise some funds for a great cause, and then sip some hot beverages from Wawa. We want to thank Wawa, Shepherd Bus, and the Millville Eagles for partnering with us again this year. Just a reminder that we are accepting pet photo contest entries until February 23rd. Your photo can be dropped off at Millville Senior Center, located at 1500 South 2nd Street, or here at City Hall. Next, to address the hazardous waste, what was done based on the recommendation of our professional staff, which doesn't seem to coincide with the recommendations of our professional staff that is here. So I don't know what to tell you about that. When we don't follow the recommendations of personal staff, we catch crap. When we do follow the recommendations of professional staff, we catch crap. Next, I'm going to address Ms. Burns. Ms. Burns and Mrs. Burns and I had a very good working relationship for a long time. In fact, when her swimming pool collapsed and her basement was flooding, she called me to come over and look. When she thought she had a structural problem with her driveway and a wall, she called me to come over, and I was more than happy to look. The problem arose when there was a debate about security on the third floor downstairs. As you know, when you walk in, there's a desk or whatever you want to call it going across, and Ms. Burns' office was located immediately to the right. So I told Ms. Burns, we're going to have to move your office. She could not be secure in that office when that part was generally open to the public. And that's where the problem arose that, so I guess she didn't like what I told her. So I'm not going to get into the tissues and stuff that she piled in front of her desk, but, you know, that was all fine. So that's where that problem arose. Let's see, what else did we question about? Covered the building, and the environmental stuff. The lawyer stuff, if it comes off the table, then I'll make my comments at that time. So other than that, progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sui. Commissioner Casabun.
Yes, also want to reiterate with everybody the help that we had. They worked hard, all your department, my department, your department, but they got it done. So kudos to them. All right, from my supervisor, Mr. Gressman. He just wanted to let everyone know that he's getting a lot of calls from residents requesting that their street be salted or sanded. We just want to let you know that we only salt emergency routes only. The reason for this is we don't have the capability to house 400 tons of salt at a time. We only have 4 trucks that will spread the salt during any storm we receive. And to make matters worse, one of those trucks has been taken out of service. It's
The brand new one, right?
no, it's not a brand new one. It's got a lot of rusty holes in it.
You fixed the brand new one.
Yeah.
Your Bondo will work.
Bondo, but duct tape, I think it's beyond that. But anyway, he just wanted to let you know it's taken out of service for serious rust on the body and the cab mounts. Also unrepairable mechanical reasons. On the average per storm, we go through 150 tons of salt, not counting what is used for public parking lots and other buildings. Therefore, the emergency routes must take the priority. We are currently down to roughly 50 tons this time, and I have been informed that there will be a delivery of 300 tons on Monday. And as far as the sand goes, the city hasn't used sand in over 20 years for DEP and insurance liability reasons. The Streets and Roads Department does the best they can with what they have to work with, and he wanted to thank all the residents who did call and understood and appreciate what we do. I want to point out that we receive a lot of positive calls and very few complaints. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to call the Streets and Roads. Also, Streets and Roads does not and will not respond to Facebook comments. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification, Commissioner Casabun, on the last point. Vice Mayor Watson.
Motion to receive and file the tax collector's report for December of 2024.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file tax collector report for December of 2024. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Sui?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Your motion carries.
I want to add that I have a meeting scheduled this Thursday to meet with engineering to discuss current projects, and hopefully I'll be up to date and be able to present that in my upcoming reports of commissioners. We're also going to be discussing a treatment works approval that's been at a standstill for a little while for the dewatering project for the sewer plant. We're going to discuss maybe possibilities of getting some kind of funding to support that. So excited to meet with Sal Goya, department head for sewer, and Wayne Johnson, our engineer. So for the soil sampling that was recommended from the Phase 1 environmentals of the 202 Southway Boulevard building, we did move in under the lease agreement, which we knew that we were going to have time constraints. That's why we agreed to the lease agreement. And the purchase agreement is contingent of anything found in the due diligence phase, so we're covered that way for any kind of environmentals. I think we're just going to leave it at that for tonight.
Anything, that's it? Okay.
That's it for me.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Watson. Mr. Seppard, regarding DNR landscaping, I knew that 3 years ago that they were the low bidder. I cannot clarify or give you any more information on the DNR and why that doesn't go out to bid, but to the last of my knowledge on that DNR landscaping was they were the previous and the only lowest bidder. And you know how the city government here in Millville works, low bidders. Hazardous waste, question, blah, blah, blah. Fifth floor is moving right along as well with the new year, always with rental inspections every month. We did really well on the lead pipe process through the end of last year through the state mandate. I was really happy with everybody on the fifth floor with all the inspections and such that were required us to do, and keep on tackling that and keeping up with all the inspections. Year after year between fifth floor and sixth floor, we always do collect a lot of money the harder we do work at our jobs, and I do appreciate the fifth floor doing an outstanding job last year and will continue to do this year. Yesterday was Martin Luther King Day, but it was also Inauguration Day. We have a very cherished history in the United States of America that we live in a democracy, and inauguration takes place not at a president's palace or some kingdom's home. It's always at the Capitol building for the people of the United States of America. And we saw democracy live and breathe yesterday. I cherish that the people of this United States of America, people here in Millville, New Jersey, upstate New Jersey, that we have the chance to vote. Having the right to vote, it is a right. I took that upon me at age of 18, and I was so excited that you have that opportunity to do so. I watched every stinking second of the inauguration yesterday. It was cold. I called out of work. I don't have to work when it's cold. It was cold today. And mainly because I would have been glued to somewhere with internet that had the inauguration, and I wouldn't have been able to do my job. It's such an exciting, momentous, joyous, emotional time for me, and I hope those that wanted to watch did watch. No matter what party you are, it's a democracy. And to see and enjoy that democracy, especially in the modern era, it's a truly a sight to see. And it's a history lesson because I didn't know that we had a previous inauguration held indoors, and that President Ronald Reagan had the hottest and the coldest of the inaugurations. That's all I have for now. Ordinance in the second reading.
We have none.
Ordinances in first reading.
We have none.
Resolutions.
Okay, item one. So I just need a motion to remove resolution appointing Brock D. Russell Esquire as municipal attorney from the table.
Make motion.
I second.
I have a motion and second. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson.
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun.
Yes.
Commissioner Sui.
Yes.
Mayor Romanek.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. And I just have, let's see, a resolution appointing Brock D. Russell Esquire as municipal attorney.
Make motion.
I second it.
I have a motion and second. Any comments?
Yes. When Mr. Russell came back on board, he wished to be an employee instead of a contractor, so we did that for him. Since then, we have hired a myriad of other attorneys because the law has expanded, so we need a bunch of specialists. Among them are the redevelopment attorney, the labor attorney, the foreclosure attorney, the tax attorney, zoning and planning attorneys, which we always had separate, and we've been asked to hire a demolition attorney. So you can see that the roles of the attorneys become more specialized. So it really isn't fiscally responsible. He's the highest paid employee in the city. Addition in the work section, I mentioned that when he was a contractor, he had paralegal staff at his disposal that filed paperwork with the courts. We had that here previously. Mr. Watson changed that, gave that job to someone that's not a paralegal, which necessitates farming that out as well. So we're paying somebody to type whatever for him, a stipend of $4,000. In addition, we're paying a legal firm to input the stuff into the court system. So he has done a good job on several lawsuits, several legal matters. That's not in question. There's been a lot of behind-the-scenes manipulation, working around. I mentioned in the work session how one of the first things Mr. Watson did when he took over the department is attempt to take over economic development, which was in the purview of a mayor, and hire a politician from another city to do that job that was always part of the administrator's job since we've been here, and it's been done quite successfully. Then after that, there was discussions on removing the administrator, and when I pointed out that it takes a supermajority of votes, that kind of went away. So there are some of the reasons that I am not going to support this. I'm sure maybe all my other commissioners will. They may, but I tell you what I think, and I tell you why, and that's why. So if he weren't an employee and he's a contractor, I may have a different opinion, but he is. And quite frankly, it's become not worth the money to pay an employee with all the associated costs. That's all I have. Thank you.
I'll have to make a comment. In the same regards, you say, we have these special services, special attorneys for this and that. I don't think any of them would have the best interest, not only for this commission, but for the city residents. Nobody's going to represent us, preventing any further litigation, like Brock Russell. He's not only just doing the city solicitor's job, but he goes above and beyond, for the city, attending meetings, at the airport, meetings with developers. He's just very well experienced. He knows the history of the city of Millville. And I don't think, us as a commission can be successful in the next 11 months without him. If you're going to compare, that position and say, oh, we have all these other special attorneys that we can reach out to for whatever situation we're going to do the same thing for engineering? We're going to get rid of the engineer because we have all these other special engineers? No, you're not going to do that. You're going to rely on Brock, the city attorney, where he is right now. Again, you have face-to-face time with Brock. You go in his office at any time. It's open to all the commissioners, easily accessible. And thank you for the residents that said kind words about him. And you're absolutely right.
If I may. I come into this with a few different views. I have spoken with people. I've spoken with at length with, as I always do, whether they need something or I need something, which is sometimes guidance with my departments. I heard a lot of people come up here today, this evening, and speak for Brock. This weekend, I had plenty of people reach out to me in restaurants, on my phones, because I always answer my phones. I sit here as will any other elected official that sits in this seat, and I am the person that leads votes, that leads conversations. I got the hot seat. I'm going to make this decision as we move on here, both in the process of people reaching out to me tonight, and I hope that people, either way that I decide to go, I pretty much made myself clear earlier this evening where I stand in the work session as far as this goes. With that said, I guess it's time to vote.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson.
Yes.
Commissioner Costaboon.
Yes.
Commissioner Sui.
No.
Mayor Romanek.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 2, resolution awarding a professional services contract through a fair and open process, appointing Barbara J. Fagley, AIPC, PP, to serve as city planner and an amount not to exceed $110,000 for a one-year term.
Make a motion on resolution item number 2. With that, I do have certification of availability of funds in the amount of $110,000, signed by our CFO, Susan Quinones.
Second motion.
We have a motion second on resolution item number 2. Any comments? Glad to have Susan, no, Susan's always a great employee. Barbara. Glad to have Barbara back on board. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Suey? Or,
Yes.
sorry, Vice Mayor Watson, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
Commissioner Costaboon?
Yes.
Commissioner Suey?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 3 is a resolution awarding a professional services contract through a fair and open process, appointing Montrose Environmental to serve as environmental engineer and an amount not to exceed $29,800 for a one-year term.
Make motion, and with that, I have certification of funds in the amount of $29,800, signed by our Chief Financial Officer, Susan Quinones.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second for resolution item number 3. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Costaboon?
Yes.
Commissioner Suey?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 4 is a resolution awarding a professional services contract through a fair and open process, appointing Premier Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Associates of Southern New Jersey, LLC, to serve as occupational health services in an amount not to exceed $30,000 for a one-year term.
I make a motion, and with that, I have certification of funds from CFO Susan Quinones for $30,000.
Do I
Second
have a
motion.
Second, thank you. Motion and a second on resolution item number 4. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Costaboon?
Yes.
Commissioner Suey?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 5 is a resolution authorizing an agreement with the South Jersey Regional Animal Shelter to provide animal sheltering services and facilities for 2025 and an amount not to exceed $207,007.23.
Make motion, and with that, I have certification of funds in the amount of $207,000, $207,007.23, signed by our Chief Financial Officer, Susan Quinones.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second on resolution item number 5. Any comments?
I spoke mine earlier.
Yeah, I was waiting for you. We've, as Commissioner Hewitt has alluded to earlier, this is a requirement by the state of New Jersey. It's not a requirement to be charged $207,000. We have to take our animals somewhere. 2 years ago, we talked with our county officials and to try to devise a plan, because not only does Millville pay this, I believe Vineland is in the
They're higher.
405, 305, way.
I guess it's based on
Population.
Yeah, it's based on the population. Not everybody has a dog or a cat either. And talking with South Jersey Regional Animal Shelter, the question got brought up. What if somebody lives out in West Millville and a cat gets hit but wanders over into Lawrenceville? Who pays for it? Lawrenceville. It's a mean system. I can use other words, but it's not friendly to the taxpayers and to the municipalities. And there is no better option, but we have to. Roll call.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Costaboon?
Yes.
Commissioner Suey?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 6 is a resolution authorizing the city to include $6,900 in its calendar year 2025 budget as an award to the Office on Aging and Disabled to be used to help fund the Meals on Wheels program, which will be offered to senior citizens of the city of Millville from January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025.
Make motion, and with that, I have certification of funds in the amount of $6,900, signed by our Chief Financial Officer, Susan Quinones.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second on resolution item number 6. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Costaboon?
Yes.
Commissioner Suey?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 7 is a resolution authorizing the city to apply for and obtain a grant from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for approximately $100,000 to carry out a project known as Waltman Park Improvements.
Move the resolution.
I second it.
We have motion second, resolution item number 7. Any comments?
Yes, that is the rehab, oh my God, Waldman Park. So it also includes tennis courts and pickleball court. In a way, the grant was written a little bit broadly in case we don't get the full amount, so then we can pick and choose what part we do. It's not unusual to get part of the grant, not all of the grant. We have been previously successful in getting this grant, so hopefully we will be again, thanks to Sam Cruz's hard work.
Thank you for that. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Sui?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 8 is a resolution authorizing a First Amendment to Service Agreement with Martine Landscaping LLC, DBA DNR Landscaping, for landscape maintenance services, lawn grass treatment services, and lawn grass mowing services to extend the contract for another year from March 19, 2025 to March 18, 2026, in a total amount of $115,810.77.
Move the resolution, and I have the certification of funds in the amount of $115,000, $810.77, signed by the CFO, Susan Quinones.
I second it.
We have motion and second on resolution item number 8. Any comments?
Yes, this contract was awarded last year and is extended to this year. The cost is the same as it was last year and was done in consultation with the Parks Department and the Engineering Department. Engineering concurred with the Parks Department, and that's why it wasn't placed out for rebid.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Sui?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 9 is a resolution authorizing the city to enter into an emergency contract purchase order with Atlantic Salt Incorporated for the purchase of bulk rock salt in a total amount not to exceed $24,450.
Make a motion.
Second motion.
And with that, I have certification of funds from Susan Quinones for $24,450.
We have motion and second. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Sui?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 10 is a resolution authorizing a purchase order for IT management and voice over internet phone services from Revell LLC in an amount not to exceed $175,148.40 for the period commencing January 1st, 2025, ending December 31st, 2025.
Make motion on resolution item number 10. With that, I do have certification availability of funds in the amount of $175,148.40, signed by our CFO, Susan Quinones.
Second motion.
We have motion and second for resolution item number 10. Any comments? Yes, Revell does an excellent job within the city of Millville. Ricky is our go-to person. I see many emails a week from him, especially when he is in-house between here and next door. And he is a wealth of knowledge, especially when we have to have like a Zoom conference call when somebody has the flu from another firm. So thank you, Ricky, and everybody. Well, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Sui?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 11 is a resolution authorizing a First Amendment to contract with Polydyne Incorporated to extend the contract for another year from January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025, in an amount not to exceed $138,600.
Make motion. With that, I have certification of funds in the amount of $138,600, signed by our Chief Financial Officer, Susan Quinones.
Second motion.
I have a motion and second on resolution item number 11. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Sui?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 12 is a resolution authorizing adjustments to the tax and utility records.
Make motion.
Second motion.
We have a motion and second on resolution item number 12. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Sui?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 13 is a resolution appointing Andrew Van Hook to serve as a Class 4 member of the Millville Zoning Board of Adjustment, with said term beginning on January 21st, 2025 through January 20th, 2029.
Make motion?
Second motion.
We have a motion and second on resolution item number 13. Any comments?
I have a question if I can ask. Okay. The alternatives, don't they move up? And he would be an alternative, or he's just sitting on the board?
He got appointed to the class.
He
4.
got class, okay, so they don't move, your alternates don't move up?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Okay, thank you.
I look forward to having Andrew Van Hook on the zoning board. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Sui?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 14 is a resolution authorizing the city to enter into an emergency contract slash purchase order with MXI Environmental Services LLC for the collection and disposal of hazardous materials for a total not to exceed $25,000.
Make motion on resolution item number 14. With that, I do have certification of availability of funds in the amount of $25,000, signed by our CFO, Susan Quinones.
Second the motion?
We have a motion and second on resolution item number 14. Any comments?
Yes.
Oops. Go ahead, Vice
I
Mayor.
received notification of this very late last week. I believe it was Friday. Started to inquire about it as soon as I heard about it. The first thing that came to mind, because I didn't know what kind of lime it was, but we could use it for odor control down at the sewer plant. You know, not too sure how to get rid of fertilizer the right way, but obviously we had the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Monday came around, it was a holiday. Found out very recently that the material was already picked up on Monday, so there really wasn't too much action, you know, on my part that I could have made. Like I said, has materials already picked up. It was a long list. I could share a little bit of that with you. It was 120 bags of limestone, 60 bags of fertilizer, 150 tubes of commercial adhesive sealant, a 55-gallon drum of liquid that was labeled flammable and health hazard, a 5-gallon bucket of flammable liquid, 8 bags of, I don't know what that is.
Vermiculite.
Yeah, that. Thank you. Good job. Partial pallet and boxes containing an assortment of hand sanitizer, which was expired. A partial pallet of boxes containing sanitizer wipes. So maybe if I knew a little bit sooner, I probably could have tried to figure something out. And I'm sure we probably had available space in other departments. But with the circumstances given, you know, it is what it is. That's all I gotta say.
I have a comment, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, either. Commissioner Hewitt, do you have anything?
No, I'm good after that.
Okay.
So, the award was to the cheaper company, the two. The amount is not to exceed $25,000, and that $25,000 quote was from Republic Services for the removal of that, what was deemed hazardous waste by one of our professional staff. And I will also make note that, as you heard several of us praise OEM for moving their stuff out of there. So somebody asked how nobody knew it. So I guess OEM didn't see it when they were moving stuff either. The old warehouse was pretty big. Stuff was piled everywhere. And I'm sure it was there for, nobody even knows how it got there. So it was probably sitting there for, I don't know.
Long time.
Long time, probably over a decade.
Roll call, please.
Okay, Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Casabun?
Yes.
Commissioner Sui?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Motion carries.
New business?
We have none.
Public comment portion. We have now reached the public comment portion of our meeting. Anyone who would like to address the commission, please go to the podium, state your name, address your concerns, and please limit your comments to approximately 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening. By now, I think you know my name. It's Anthony DeSantis. It hasn't changed. So the reason why I came down this evening is because, you know, many of you don't know this, but I probably do about, you know, anywhere from a 12 to a 14-hour day. This evening, I was working on a plan on bringing in 355 jobs to the city of Millville. I was watching a commission meeting live on TV. I heard Mr. Watson mention my name a half a dozen times. So I came up just in case somebody had a question to ask me. I have the opportunity to respond accordingly. You know? I don't think I've done anything to hurt anyone here or go against any individual, whether in this city or at this or the community. As a matter of fact, I'll ask a question here. Ms. Casaban, you're new, and welcome to the commission.
Thank you.
Do you have any idea how much money our group has spent at Wheaton?
I'm aware of some of the amounts, yes.
Would you mind just giving me a number? Just pick a number.
Probably
You can
over a
comment
hundred.
during the,
Oh,
during your
okay,
comment
okay,
portion.
thank
You don't
you.
have to answer questions.
Thank
Mayor,
you.
aren't
Okay.
you running the meeting? Or is it-
The only reason why I was asking you, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything like that, so I apologize.
No, you don't need to apologize. I'm a
No,
good
no,
girl.
I just want to make sure I'm not doing that. What I'm trying to say is that we spent between cleaning out the pond, the demolition and everything, we're probably well over $20 million. Okay? We've spent a lot of money in this city. Want to talk about friends? You know, they're mentioning that I'm probably the most hated individual in this city. And I have to agree with that. I feel like that. No one has ever come up to me and said one time, hey, you know what? You guys are doing a great job. Brock was kind enough to stop. Joe was kind enough to stop. The mayor went to look at the demolition. Mr. Yule was there. I still have yet to see you there. Now, I don't have a problem with Mr. Watson. I have a problem with what you said about me. Okay? And you still haven't apologized for that. And you also lied, and I could bring up those tapes about some of the conversations. But I'm not here to discuss that, nor to make an issue of it. The reason why I came up here is to try to unite everybody, because I have a project that's going to benefit the city. My vision for this city is grandiose. I believe in the people that live here. I believe in the history of the city and what the families, the ancestral heritage has brought to the city. Now, I've heard discussions. I like Brock. I like Joe. You know, it's fun. I like Kirk. Want to know something? Joe testified in federal court against me. He almost had me arrested. Brock sued me. You understand? It's business. It's not personal. I get it. Kirk may have his issues with me, but as a person, I respect him. I like him. Mr. Watson, I think you're out of your league. I still like you. I still respect you. I don't think this is a forum for you to practice. Look at the mistake you made this evening with the hazardous material. I didn't know. No, that you don't. This is not a place where we play games and we say, you know what, let me learn as I go. This is what costs the citizens of Millville a lot of money. Now, Ms. Casabon, you had mentioned salt.
1 minute remaining, Mr. DeSantis.
I appreciate that. Thank you. You had mentioned salt and you don't have a place to store it. I'd like to let you know that my door is always open. And if your team or the people that you represent, your engineers, need any help, I have storage facilities. I have silos. You know, we've had salt on our property. We can handle it. So I would like to open my doors to help you if you need be. And I'm not looking for any reimbursement. You could give me $1 and donate the rest of the money to charity. Okay? So, Mr. Watson, and just give me this. We did try to set up an appointment with you, Mr. Watson. A little respect. Again, a little respect. Thank you. We did try to set up an appointment with you, but you were in a meeting. So what I would like to do in an open forum is to invite Ms. Casabon, you and you, Mr. Watson, you have your own issues that you want to discuss. My personal opinion is we can sit down and together we can help dictate a plan where I could be an asset or could step out of the way. I don't need to be here. Florida's warm this type of year, this time of year. You understand? So let me know when we can have an appointment, a meeting. I'll bring down my professionals and we could discuss it. And if we can help the city in any way to make it a better place to live, let's do it. Mr. Romanek, thank you for having patience and allowing me the extra few seconds. Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeSantis. I'd like to remind my commissioners, if you want to engage during the questioning of the public comments on the public comment portion of this, you may interject with those that are speaking, but I will count that time against those that are speaking, so that if you think they're going to have a laundry list of questions, please let them finish and answer it at the end. Thank you. Mr. McGinty.
Just real quick, I don't know who looked at the drum of stuff, and because it said flammable on the labels, determined it was hazardous waste. First off, it really doesn't become a waste until you classify it as a waste, or you determine it's a waste. It could have been recycled, reused, whatever. Could have been moved. You know, it might have been it could be a valuable product for all we know. There's other assets within the city. The fire department could have came over and they could have tested it for VOCs, and they could have done a flash test on it and a number of other things. The third thing is we have a county health department with an environmental arm of people that's what their specialty is. They come over and do it. I worked with them for many, many years when I was in the spills and thrills department of the DEP in the responsible party site remediation and emergency response out of Gibbsboro. When we didn't have time to handle that kind of stuff, they came and looked at it. I just kind of find it unconscionable that, you know, somebody who is in those positions doesn't know the resources that would have prevented the payment of $25,000 or less, depending on this stuff. It doesn't appear that it was an emergent thing all in all, because somebody saw it in the course of the whole week. So yes, there was time to go ahead and do something and call somebody and take care of it. I'm not going to point fingers or name names, but they quickly found out soon enough when a similar situation happened in the city, and it turned out that the material was basically grain alcohol, and the caustic material was soap, and all that stuff could have been recycled, reused, blended for fuels, disposed of without a lot of headaches. But the knee-jerk reaction was to alert everybody, emergency response, all that. I was there. I didn't get involved, but I just looked at it, and when I found out what the course of things were, it created a big headache for, you know, one of the people that basically wasn't their issue to begin with. It was left by a former tenant. So they went after the tenant, and apparently it all got squared away. But these environmental things, just because somebody thinks, oh, it's flammable, or it's combustible, or it's this or that, doesn't necessarily mean it's a waste. It doesn't necessarily mean you can't find other ways to get rid of it. And there are places that pay for it. So if you have the right stuff, you know, and you're not going to use it, somebody else might pay you for it. I mean, they used to pay for waste oil. I don't think they do now. But again, waste oil hasn't been deemed a hazardous material, so now you can recycle, reuse, and get rid of that. But, you know, if you don't know, ask somebody. You know, you have the county, go over there, those people go to training every year for identification and so forth and so on. So,
Thank you, Mr. McGinty.
Hi, John Worthington, Millville. Good evening. I'm here tonight. Well, first, I want to congratulate the commission and congratulate Brock on his reappointment. I'm here tonight, though, to express my thanks to the thanks of the hundreds of families of the Millville's Laurel Lake community to this commission and the city attorney for working with us to try to undo the damage that's been caused by private backroom dealings of one commissioner, which has gotten us involved in yet another lawsuit. For those who don't know, the city is being sued by a developer who wants to put an asphalt and concrete recycling plant with all of its noise, unsafe truck traffic, stench, and environmental contamination on a plot of land that abuts a community of hundreds of homes and includes a pristine freshwater lake as well as a Category 1 waterway and is a major tributary of the federally protected Maurice River. And it's not just through bad luck that they came to build on that lot. They were actively courted to do so by former Vice Mayor Joe Suey, working with another developer who was engaged in his own lawsuit against the city. It was the specter of that asphalt plant that drove well over 100 taxpayers to pack this room and make their views clear at the September 9th Planning Board meeting after being alerted by a flyer and social media post that there was talk of an asphalt plant at the site. At that meeting, Mr. Suey implied the flyer was a lie and stated that there was no proposal for any asphalt plant, a statement he made again at a subsequent meeting with members of the Laurel Lake Property Owners Association and the Citizens United to Protect the Maurice River. But he's been outed by a sworn testimony in the lawsuit. We now know that not only was there a plan to bring an asphalt plant to the site, and not only did Mr. Suey was fully aware of it, he was actively working to bring it here. According to the lawsuit against the city, in October of 2023, the prior owner of the property, Heritage Hill Development, and representative of Osprey Real Estate Holdings, the Pennsylvania-based asphalt developer, met with Vice Mayor Suey and City Administrator Raymond Campari. At this meeting, Suey and Campari assured Osprey that they would be able to use the property as an asphalt plant under the newly enacted spot zoning change. We also have a January 24 letter from the former city zoning officer, Robert Campbell, assuring Osprey that the current zoning would allow the plant. That decision is questionable at best because it's a far cry from the manufacturing and packaging of stone to the manufacturing and recycling of asphalt and concrete. So by the time he was telling everyone in September that there was no plan for an asphalt plant, Mr. Suey had already been working for 9 months to bring one here. Let's take a look at the timeline. January 2023, Heritage Hills, which was pursuing a lawsuit against the city on another development plan, purchases Block 141 for $750,000. August of 23, the ill-advised spot zoning change was quietly pushed through, despite the written warning of the planning board that it was out of conformance with the master plan. October 2023, Vice Mayor Suey and developers have their meeting. January 2024, the city zoning officer sends his letter. March 2024, Heritage Hills sells the property to Osprey for $1.25 million. Quietly lost, perhaps intentionally, amid all these private backroom deals, Heritage Hill drops its lawsuit against the city. Very interesting timing. Now, after the public outcry, the zoning was changed back to farmland production, but the damage has already been done. I'm here to express our support to this current commission for standing up for the rights and concerns of the hundreds of tax-paying families that will have their lives and property values disrupted by such an outrageous use for a property that for decades has been zoned for conservation and is intended under the city's master plan to serve as a buffer for the neighboring community. We are following this issue closely, and we're working diligently to keep the hundreds of neighboring families aware of what is going on. We urge the commission to continue to fight and not let us get stuck with another legal settlement that's a win for an out-of-state developer at the expense of our own taxpayers. Thank you.
May I address, please?
Can we wait till the public?
Well, I prefer to do it now since it's fresh in everyone's mind, if that's okay.
Go right ahead.
So, at the beginning of our term, both Commissioner Hewitt and I, met with one asphalt developer that wanted to put an asphalt plant out on Buckshootum Road. That was before we were even in office. He wanted 100 acres of city property to build that. Later on, Mr. Campari and I met with another developer, the one mentioned, that wanted to build an asphalt plant. Upon the advice of Mr. Russell that it was a permitted use because of the use of stone, I was told it was permitted use. I did talk to the developer. What I told the developer is, and it was me and Mr. Campari in the room, that I think I have the support for that. I don't know, but any plan we do requires public approval, public hearings. There is no backroom deals. There can't be backroom deals. I can no more promise you that you can do something on a piece of property without going through the planning board and this entire commission for a redevelopment agreement. That is how it works. As time went on, over a year since we talked to the developer, he came in and he never got a permit, he never got a plan to build the asphalt plant. He never proposed a plan, he never pulled a zoning permit. And it's a good thing he didn't, because if he did, then under the old zoning law, he could have built his asphalt plant and nobody could have stopped it. Is that correct, Counselor? Isn't that what you told me?
If he had filed a site plan application, in my opinion, he would have been protected against the zoning change.
So that had nothing to do with us, with me. He didn't do it. Thankfully, he didn't do it. We then changed the zoning. All of us changed the zoning. We voted to change the zoning so that it couldn't be built. Now, why would we consider an asphalt plan there to begin with? Well, at least me, I'll speak for myself. So I would consider an asphalt plant there. Now, you know, the 100 people in Laurel Lake have a very, very beautiful place. It's an untapped gem. And then down the road is slated for development. Right now, there's a field that's slated for solar panels under the old commission. And further down, we're considering selling property for other things. So, I mean, really, they want all their land around them preserved, and I understand. But, you know, you have to take the whole city into consideration. And at the time we talked to the developer, we didn't have all these redevelopment deals that we have now and all the proposals we have now. So there's always a balance between what you have and what you need. So if we have no development and we have no jobs, we're kind of messed up. Now that we're getting development, now we can afford to be a little more particular in what we get developed where. It's just common sense. If you have nothing, you need something, you're going to do other things. So that's the whole story. And believe me, no one here can make a backroom deal and ensure it will be passed. It's not possible. Redevelopment agreements come before this body. There are public hearings. At the planning board, there are public hearings. The zoning was changed to prevent the old use that would have made it permitted, as you heard Mr. Russell say. So, and I will add this. Mr. DeSantis, you gave me a little hope for optimism there. I thought I was the most hated guy in Millville, but now I know it's you. And with that, progress. He had his 5 minutes here.
Actually, I didn't, Joe. I timed it out. I only used 3 and 50.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you read the lawsuit, but it doesn't play exactly like you're spinning it.
Well, of course it doesn't. He's suing us. Why would we say the same thing?
You held up this flyer at the planning board meeting.
Correct.
And you said at that planning board meeting that there is no plan for an asphalt plant on that site.
And that was correct. At the planning board meeting, there was no plan. There was no plan submitted, which is exactly what I said.
But you were working.
And the zoning was changed.
So we're gonna define what it means, right? There was a plan. You were working to bring a developer in to develop that site for an asphalt plant. And you told us that there was no plan when you knew full well that you and Heritage Hill had met with the developer to bring an asphalt plant to that site.
Over a year before all that
stuff.
Not
a year.
Look, this
I
stuff
gave you the
never came.
timeline.
I know what you gave me, and I know what the lawsuit says. But what I'm telling you is if he had applied for a plan before we did anything, he would have been able to build
That's
his
not
asphalt
the
plant.
issue. His mistake saved us.
That is correct.
His mistake saved us from your folly.
And our further action to rezone it saved anybody from
But
building
the
one there.
initial action to
Oh, my
spot zone it from conservation to airport enterprise is what caused the problem. And there was no public hearing for that. There was no notification of the budding property owners.
There absolutely is a hearing anytime we change the zoning, and it's an ordinance.
There was
Commissioner
no
Sui, please. Mr.
notification of
Worthington.
property.
Mr. Worthington, I did time you. You were over 5 minutes. I watched the computer. That's the
Okay.
computer time. You were over 5 minutes. Please
Thank you.
wrap it up.
Good evening, Commissioners. Robert McQuaid, Millville, former City Commissioner. Anthony Sands, I don't hate you. I worked with you when I was there. And Brock, congratulations. I feel a lot of tension in the room, and I thought when I left my house I would come here and be less tension, because there's a lot of tension at my house right now, because I almost lost my wife 3 months ago. Well, she was in the hospital for 3 months. She needs a lung transplant. So besides that, losing my parents. So here's the issue. I mean, I wrote some little notes here. I'm trying to come in with this. So, like I said, if like him or not, Commissioner Sui, like him or not, Commissioner Sui has a madness to his plan, and he has the city at heart. So, I've worked with him several times. Did I agree with him all the time? Most of the time, I didn't agree with him. And when I didn't agree with him, I got my butt bit by citizens, and I got some citizens that bit me so hard, that's why I didn't get reelected. Okay? So the best way I think to work within this city, and this way it won't be such an argument, is, I've said it before, Community Relations Committee, because we had a lot of people coming to the school board, and I was on the school board for 10 years. My first time on the school board voting against somebody, and they tore me apart, and I was young on it at that time. I actually got sick and threw up, went outside and threw the hell up. But I can see there's just too much tension here. So back to the Community Relations Committee. This is a great thing, and I think Mrs. Costabone would be the perfect head of that. And commissioners can come into it or not. I mean, you have it private, separate from the meeting. And I can explain it more how it would work, because I set it up when I was on the school board. And it can work for the school, it can work here, because we had teachers bickering and battling coming into the city, into the meeting, and citizens disagreeing. It kind of fell to the wayside after Dr. Gentile left, like him or not, but I think it's a better way, and I think we could solve a lot of problems, because we need to use some TQM, which is total quality management, and what that means is that you go to the person. When I worked for the military base in Atlantic City for 30 years, we went through a course for 2 months on TQM, and the Japanese used it, like it or not. And TQM is that you are in charge of that department, and you go to the people that are doing the job so that that job gets done properly, and ask them, how would you be able to, like, you're building this controller. Can we make 10,000 of these controllers instead of 5,000 a month? And that guy could probably tell you how. So when I went in there as commissioner with Wayne Grossman, I went in and I told him, I said, look, you are the director, I am the commissioner. He goes, no, you're the commissioner and director. And I said, no, I'm just a commissioner. I'm the guy that pushes the pencil and fills out what you need. You are to teach me the job. You are to teach me streets and roads and tell me what I need. So I'm retired due to injuries. So I went down there every day, and I worked with Grossman. I went out on the streets with him. We went out and cleaned. I had a lot of people that were pissed off about a commissioner going out on the streets working with somebody, but that's how you learn. Now, I told Steve Watson when he came in, I said, you're going to get chewed out a lot, and you just have to keep it to yourself, because they're just attacking because they're angry at certain things. So you have to deal with it and focus on one person. But I told Steve, too, school board is a great place to start learning to be in politics, because you're going to get battered there really bad, really bad. So with that, I mean, I hope you can work together. And I know some commissions, we'll just say there are some angry commissioners from far in the past and situations that had happened from not being able to get promoted or something in one job to another, and you're taking anger out on a certain other commissioner. And I'm not giving the names out, but I know, and you could say, oh, he don't know what he's talking about, he's full of shit, but I know because I sat up in that damn seat and I've talked to people. Now, one idiot can ask more questions than 10
Mr.
wise
McQuaid,
men
1 minute
can
remaining,
answer.
and please watch your
And
language.
that's what I'm telling you. So, what's wrong with that, idiot?
You said the S word.
I said one.
La caca.
I said one idiot can ask more questions than 10 wise men. So what was wrong with that? Did I sound like I said the ASS?
No.
No. Okay, well, maybe because I'm stuttering and my heart's pumping a little bit because I got tension at home, too.
Bob, you said la caca. the other word.
Look, shut up. I'm going to take you out to Jim's lunch.
Thank you, Mr. McQuaid.
Am I allowed back up here? Just one thing. The asphalt plant. I didn't agree with knocking down and changing the zoning. Had a lot of people come in here and they all cried and whined and not in my backyard and got all emotional and everything else. But they have no idea the regulations and stipulations and all the things that go into having an asphalt plant in this day and age. We had people come in here and said, oh, they mix hazardous waste in the asphalt. You don't know what's in there. And then later on down in her little talk, she said she worked for the asphalt plant for 15 years or so. I don't know how you can, it's like, if she knew there was hazardous waste going into asphalt, she should go to jail, you know? And I know there was no hazmat going in there. We're talking about in the 80s. If you're overly concerned about an asphalt plant, which isn't going to happen anyway, go look at some of the asphalt plants around in South Jersey. There's a huge one over there in Bridgeton. No odor comes out of it. They have catalytic oxidizers and scrubbers and dust control, you name it. And if any hazardous material were to hit the ground or the groundwater, they would be on them like a duck on a June bug, just waiting to sue them and do administrative cost recovery and force them into a cleanup. It would be a nightmare for a company to contaminate anywhere in this day and age. And you're going, I'm talking, and they're going to turn around, and if something else comes in there that's not to your liking, you'll be back up here
Now,
and
direct,
you'll
sir,
circulate
direct, please, Tom, direct your comments to the commission and not to somebody in the audience.
Somebody will be back here, and they'll have another flyer and another uproar, and, you know, people will come, and then where are they now?
Mr. McGinty, we've talked about this at
Yes.
length.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, if I may, there are other people that haven't had a chance to speak yet, and I think they should
I
get to
agree.
go first.
Hi, it's me again, Chairman Taylor. Congratulations, Brock. Thank you to the commissioners for reappointing him. It's a good choice. Thanks for listening to us for a change. Just a couple things, Kirk, on the SPCA thing. Make sure you keep with Sills. He knows his stuff. He knows what's going on. They're shady sometimes. They're sneaky with certain things.
I know, believe me, I know.
So just
That's
keep an
why
eye
I
on them. Joe, I actually think that you and I have
Yeah, we have.
butted those
yeah.
heads.
Yeah.
I actually think you do have the best interest of the city at heart. Sometimes you go about it a different way. Sometimes you go about it the ways that we don't like. But I do think you honestly have the best interest.
Thank you.
Carol, you're new. You're the newbie. Congratulations. Keep up the good work. Mr. Mayor, you too. Steve, it's a hard spot. You're doing good. Kurt, yeah, you're doing good. But just thank you for listening to us for a change. 10 more months, keep up the good work. Listen to the people. In emergency management and emergency services, we have networking, resource management. From the littlest person, you could have Mary, Mr. Pareca, Mr. DeSantis, McGinty, Brock, any of you. You never know who's going to have the answer for you. In emergency management, we learned that if we need something and we don't have it, we find it, we look for it, we get it. And there's ways to go about it. I could ask Mr. DeSantis a question, hey, do you know where I can get 7 purple widgets? He'd be like, yes, I have those, or I know where to get those. I can have them here in a day. It's resource management and networking. From the littlest guy to the biggest guy. It's, you know, you just have to learn how to communicate with people and get what you need and at the time. Sometimes it means not necessarily in an emergency. You have time. Just learn how to budget it and how to deal with it. And you can avoid a lot of problems. Thank you.
Make sure.
Good evening, Kim Ayers from Millville. I just wanted to come tonight because I've heard for the second time during the work session comments about the authority costing the city $400,000 and then $700,000. I just feel like the public, and I want to have it spread on the minutes, deserves to have that put into context rather than to think there was just some problem and the city had to pay this money to the authority. So the authority is the economic development entity for the county. So we work with whatever municipality to whatever scale or degree they would like us to work with them, whether it's bringing businesses in or helping them analyze projects. We just had the mayor present to our economic development board your project in Hurley Industrial Park. So that's kind of our role in the county. And in terms of the dollars that Mr. Suey mentioned in the city, so that there was $400,000 that the city put up, but that was for a project. So that was for the Arts and Innovation Project. That represented less than 7% of the entire cost of that $6.9 million project. So I don't think you have to be an economic developer to understand that's a pretty good leverage. That's a pretty good ratio. Putting up 12% for a project that's built in your downtown. Has it lived up to its potential? Not yet, no. It hasn't. That's the responsibility of the college, to fill that building, to put people on the street. That was the idea behind that building. But for $400,000, which was bonded by the city over 20 or 25 years, you received a building, an investment in your empty downtown of $7 million. So it's not like you just paid off $400,000 and got nothing in return. Similarly, the $700,000 that's referenced for the library is your building. The library itself put up that same amount, if not more, from an endowment they had raised for probably 50 years. The authority had a grant, wrote for a grant, and Millville got the largest state grant for libraries, $3.2 million. And so that total project was over $6 million as well. Your participation in that building, which is yours, which you have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to try and solve roof problems, mold problems, all kinds of problems that comes with a 50-year-old building. You have a brand new building, again, a $6.1 million investment in your town. You did not have to build it. You did not have to bid it. You did not have to design it, which you would have had to do because it's your building. Instead, you contributed, again through a bond, a little over $700,000. And in return, you have a beautiful building, a beautiful library, one that you don't have to put up the same amount of maintenance in. That new building is not the reason why the library board is asking you for additional operating money. They have needed more operating money for many years. That building is saving them money through all the efficiencies that it has created. So again, I think it's a misrepresentation to say the authority came in and cost you $400,000 or $700,000. That 700 got you 6.1 million, got you a $3.2 million grant that required a match. So I just wanted to clarify, we are, in fact, we've worked with Millville in the past when you needed help with economic development, and we'll help any community that does. We sold you the building on High and Main for $400,000, well below its appraised value, and you turned around and sold it to Mr. DeSantis for $430,000. So we did not hurt you in any way with that either. So we are promoters of economic development. We do not work to cost cities money. We do not work to do projects that are problems. We try to help you solve problems. And with those buildings, we felt we were contributing to an investment in this area during recession, during a time when economic development was not the same game as it is today, which it's much easier to attract people. But again, we're here to create economic development, not to create any kind of issues or problems for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Paul Pareca, Millville. Disappointing to see that nobody wanted to know if it was legal to have work done before you voted on a contract. I'm not sure about the municipal law on that, never researched it. Are they going to finish the work?
Clean up.
There's still hazardous waste in the building that Millville put there. Are we going to pay them before they finish the work? Or are we going to get them to come back and finish the work? And that's basically my question.
Seeing no one else, I would close the public comment portion. Closing comments of commissioners. Commissioner Hewitt.
Paul, it was in my mind, but I think you saw what I did. I was going to put the solicitor on the spot, but that was one of those battles that goes on in your head, and you figure, okay, you're just outnumbered, and no sense in taking another shot. That's what I declined to say. Folks, thanks for coming out tonight. Productive night. City spoke. Not just those of you that came here, but the city spoke. It was a very busy weekend. And see you next meeting. Don't be strangers. Thank you.
Commissioner Casabun.
I want to thank everyone that did come out, and congratulations, Brock.
Thank you.
And yes, we did hear the public. We heard you, and I continue to hear you. Thank you.
Commissioner Sui.
Yes, first, with regards to the Improvement Authority, I always look at return on investment. And as you said, the one project hasn't been successful yet. So that's money tied up for a long time for as yet an unsuccessful project. As far as the library, one of the problems with the roof was, that I found out, is that we had the roof replaced and it was warranted for 20 years. However, this is the original building, the original library, no one inspected the roof. So therefore, the warranty was voided, and the city got stuck with a big repair bill. As far as the expansion of the library, yes, the city, I thought it was 800,000, I've been corrected at 700,000, wonderful. But if you think it's going to be free to maintain that building, it's not. If you think it's going to be free to heat it and air condition it, it's not. We build a beast that we can't feed. So it becomes, do we give the library more money? Do we pay police officers more money? It's always an allocation of resources. And I always find it amazing how the Improvement Authority gets its money. So a majority of their money has been made through your trash fees. We pay to get rid of the trash. We pay the Improvement Authority. And then the Improvement Authority usually lends the money or takes a construction fee out, a management fee. I don't remember what it was on the library building, 6 or 8% or 3%, 3%. So they're already getting paid by you for your trash, and then they're taking a management fee out. So, you know, I guess it's so they can have more money to invest. We were once approached about possibly buying the college building on High Street. So anyway, enough of that. And one of the $400,000 that the CCIA at the time did cost us, and I said it before, is with Inventec. Inventec was located at the airport. They wanted to expand into 25 Airwork Street, and the building is now deteriorated. So they came to us and they said, we want to buy it for $400,000. I think it was $4 or $450. So we said, sure. Then Mr. Quinn got the idea to take them to the authority to get tax credits. So he took them to the authority, and as part of getting those tax credits, they had to look at other sites. One of the other sites they looked at was in Galloway, and they are now located in Galloway. So it doesn't always work out for the benefit of the taxpayers of Millville. I am sure there are projects that we could work together on if the terms are correct, absolutely. So it doesn't mean we can't work together on anything. You know, the one thing that does remind me of that could possibly work is the CCIA working in conjunction with the county and the city to do Nab Avenue, which is, what is it, Burns Road, was done for the Northeast Precast. That's a possibility. So let me move on to, you know, before I talked about someone entering my home, and I explained how I was home and I had held the people at gunpoint, the person at gunpoint, et cetera, till the cops get there, and they did a fabulous job. So I just got a call the other day about going to court for this, whether I would be, you know, happy if they accepted a plea bargain. It was pretty ridiculous considering the guy had 17 or 18 previous offenses running around out. And, you know, he's not really old enough. If he'd got a year apiece, he'd probably still be in jail. So, and there were a lot of comments about crimes and the police. So, you know, I have to look at the leniency of our judges and our prosecutors. And it's quite amazing how lenient they actually are. Now, I had a conversation with Mr. Russell, and he talked to me about the JPAC. And that's the New Jersey Judicial and Prosecutorial Appointment Committee. And the job is to conduct a confidential review of prospective county prosecutors and judicial candidates. Now, Mr. Russell sits on that, and prior to becoming a judge or a prosecutor, you go through a political process, and then you get reviewed by that board. And he told me about one candidate that was asked why he became an attorney, and it was to put bad guys in jail. And he was pretty amazed that any member of the committee would ask that question. I'm pretty amazed that any of the member of the committee could ask that question, because if you wanted to be a prosecutor or a judge, you may want to put bad guys away. It kind of benefits everything. But when he told me that, and he told me members of the committee were upset about that question, you know, this points out a problem, why criminals are running around and being soft. First of all, it's a political appointment. Second of all, if members of that committee are kind of like, you know, we don't want somebody that's going to put bad guys in jail. I don't know if the guy was approved or not. You know, that's indicative of a systematic failure. That's a failure in our system. And really, I wish that system could be changed so those kind of questions wouldn't be asked. I'm going to write a couple of letters. I'll write one to the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and to the, you know, the New Jersey Attorney General, State Attorney General, and we'll see what they say. Probably they ha and throw it in the trash. But that won't stop me from trying to fix a systematic problem. So I don't know if there's anybody else here that's been a victim of crime by convicted criminals, but that's the way it is. And I will reemphasize one point. No zoning ordinance gets changed without the approval of the commission. So when we change it, there are public hearings. It's an ordinance. So it's read once and it's read twice, the second time with a public hearing. So to say that I do all this stuff on my own, I don't. I talk to plenty of developers. I cannot have any developer come in here without the approval of the commission. It's just not possible. So keep that in mind when you digest all the comments. Progress, Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor Watson.
Congratulations, Brock. Well deserved. Happy to serve with you for the remaining of my term. The hazardous material at the 15th Street warehouse. I mean, I already said it, but I found out about this on Friday. You know, if I was notified sooner, maybe I could have took action and maybe reach out to the sewer department, see if they could use the material, or maybe called around and see if there was anybody else that I had for resources that could kind of guide us the right way. But I wasn't. I came out through an emergency purchase rec, and it was already scheduled. We had the Saturday, Sunday, Monday. There was nobody here. Yeah, 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Monday being the holiday with no city personnel here. So to do kind of investigate and try to figure out where to send this was a little difficult. But by the time I got the chance to talk to somebody on Tuesday, it was already picked up the day before. So what do you want me to do with the material before it was picked up? Mr. DeSantis, I'm glad that you came here. I was actually looking forward to talking to you. He come up to the podium and he said that one of the things that he said is like cost you millions of dollars, and I think that it was like $2 million is like what you referenced, and I kind of really want to know like how did I interfere with that, because everything that we've done as a commission. I mean, I supported you. I supported your business, and I supported the sales of the buildings that you purchased. I think the only thing that I may have went against, and I holding pretty steady, is probably the cannabis. Just I'm not a supporter of it, but you don't see me up here arguing because I know how vital it is to generate revenue for the city. I'm not going to vote for it, but I'm not going to fight that hard against it either because I understand how important it is. So if you want to meet, I'm open to that. No problem. I would like to have City Attorney Brock Russell with us, and then we could hash out whatever you would like. I think really the worst thing I've ever said regarding you was maybe I didn't trust you, but I think I have that reason being in the position that I am in. So
he's speaking. Please let him speak.
You got to build trust. You got to build trust, and we haven't had that much opportunity to sit down and speak with each other, and that's how we start, right? So if that's something I said, I do apologize for you. Maybe I didn't give you enough time. So now we can move forward. All good there. There's probably a lot more that I want to say, but I'm going to listen to the city residents. As they say, stay professional, don't argue. Don't put gloves on when you come up here. I think it's probably good. And I think city residents actually respect that a lot more than actually us arguing. I think I'm done for tonight, and that's all I got.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Watson. I do want to address one point that, Vice Mayor, you made, making it don't quote me, but something of the way of political career. I look at our newly inaugurated Vice President, J.D. Vance. He's 40 years old. I turned 30 in I don't know how many days. That is amazing. I also look at all those pictures that each and every one of you saw, each and every one of you that are watching this on YouTube or TV. Guess what I saw? Myself and a lot of them. Guess who goes to all these parades and all these events? Myself. Guess who I see at all these events and parades? All of you and all the other 27,000 residents that live here in the city of Millville. We all get invited. We all have the right to choose when it's a public event to go to these things. Some specifically choose not to go, and they have mentioned that to me. But you do good here, sitting up here on the podium. You do good when you get to engage with the public. And engaging in the public outside of City Hall is some of the best conversations that I have. I also have very engaging conversations through email with probably a handful of you. But having that one-on-one conflict and resolution solved at a moment in particular, that's also very satisfying as well. Or that I can help you get to your answer. And that's out in the public. Because we all live here in Millville. Everybody that's here is a Millville resident. And Mr. Horn put that on pieces of paper and on literature throughout anything and everything that we can see. I wish that commercial would go out to Millville to see it on TV instead of seeing, it's always growing season or whatever Vineland's slogan is. They're crushing it in the industrial parks. We have plenty of land still to sell. They had to buy private land to expand their public industrial park. We're not at that point yet. They also have a lot more in rateables than the city of Millville. They also have a lot more taxes. I don't want to get in the nitty-gritty, but we're working together, and we're working together to do our best here for the city of Millville and push the city of Millville forward into a brighter future. We all said what our running quotes and motions were, and some of people, you know, there's elections that take place, and elections have consequences. But I welcome those elections because the people are voting. And this is a political position. You either take it, you like it, you don't like it. You be involved with who you want to be involved in. But people know and people watch. And just making sure my commission knows all that. Happy are those who dare courageously to defend what they love. Ovid. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.